everyone. Hello, and welcome to the podcast, Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. And I have Nadine Joy with me today. I'm so sorry that we are a few minutes late. I know some of you depend on having that every Wednesday at 10, but last week we went live on Monday and I duped everybody. So that happens too. We're going to go ahead and get started here real quick, Nadine. So if you have any background noise that comes up or anything, just feel free to mute yourself as we're going along, and I'll do the same. Although I did invite my daughter and the kids and her husband to leave the house for the next hour because the kids are screaming. So I'm not going to lie, I've had to mute myself quite a few times too. So we do what we need to do. We'll go ahead and get started here. Just 1 second. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. I'm your host, Colleen Biggs, and I am super excited that we are only a few days away from Halloween. I personally am not a big Halloween fan. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't get the ghouls and the goblins and the ghosts and all of that. What I love about Halloween is it brings my kids and my family together. We do an annual pumpkin carving contest, which is super fun. And in my family, it's very competitive to the point where the winner, we have everyone online vote, we have neighbors vote, and the winner winds up being on the front of our Christmas card. And we announce that they're the winner, So it's a big deal in our family. You get to hold the crown for the whole year until the next year. So it's the artist comes out in everybody. So it's a very exciting time in our home. And I love the fall weather. Finally in Arizona, it is cold. I've opened up windows. It's absolutely gorgeous. And so I'm enjoying this weather. Nadine, where you are in Canada, you probably are freezing your butt off already. I'm sure there's snow. Is that correct?
Yes, Colleen, thank you so much for having me here today. And yes, we got snow 2 days ago. It's the earliest we've ever gotten snow in history, I think.
Crazy. I was in Chicago last weekend for a big turnaround conference, and I flew back on Sunday, and it was 40 degrees. And we flew back on Sunday, and then on Monday, they received snow. And when I got back here, the weather was like 60 degrees during the day. So that's really cold for Arizona this time of year. So I've been enjoying this weather and just basking in it because we don't get it very often. And it's nice to wear a long sleeve shirt today and not have to be, sweating at 95 degrees. So I'll take the weather. I wanted to get caught up really quick with Lead Up before we jump into with our guest, Nadine. So let's go ahead and get caught up really quick. You guys, we had an amazing Teaching Tuesday webinar this last Tuesday where we learned about how to get all of your important documents together in your home and why it's our responsibility as the wife and our husband's responsibility, our spouses, as the leaders of our family, to not put that on our children to have to do that. So we do these every Tuesday, every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. And I invite anyone listening on the podcast, watching live, to go out there and click on the link for free and join these webinars. These are our members, y'all. Our members teach all of these webinars. They're the ones that have this genius, and they teach you all the different aspects of your life and your personal and your business life. Because next week, we're talking about decluttering mentally and physically. And that's what we're going to be talking about for the fourth Tuesday of the month. And that's going to be November 10th. So not next week, but the following week. But next week, on November 5th, we have our Lunch and Learn. I'm going to put all the links in the podcast for you. So they're right there. All you guys have to do is click on it, and you can attend our Lunch and Learn, which is 90 minutes of you networking with other women. And we've already got 40 some women enrolled for this next one on November 5th. And it's going to be at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So we hope that you all can join us for that. Okay, enough about Lead Up for Women. Let's talk to our current guest that we have today, which is Nadine Joy. Now, I met Nadine a few months back. It was probably 5 or 6 months back now. And the minute we got on the phone and started talking, we connected right away. And I didn't even want to get off the phone with her. I think she was at the mall with her kids or something. And it was a tough time for us to have the conversation, but she's so gifted in what she's done. She has this major a resume of credibility of what she's done in her life. But, to me, that wasn't even the most impressive point of meeting Nadine. It was her energy and her passion and her joy and her love for people and empowering women and children and minorities. And that was what really drew me to Nadine. And like I said, she's a global ambassador for food for the hungry in Canada, an international director for the One Day Movement organization, which her and I have both been part of. She's been on iHeartRadio in New York City, Global News Morning, the Globe and Mail. I really could go on and on and on with all she's doing, but I would love her to share a little bit about her journey today with you and talk about what makes her so awesome. So, Nadine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so, so much, Colleen. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful welcome. And I am so honored to be here today. And you're right, from the moment that we talked, and I forget where we were. We were on holidays somewhere, and I had my 4 kids with me, and I was like, I need to talk to Colleen. I need to talk to her right now. And it was one of those things that we had such a great conversation. And I agree with you. I just wanted to sit there and talk to you all day long because I felt that there's so much that we both had in common and that we could share with one another. And it's, for me, you're right, it's all about helping other people and how we can serve others and how we show up in the world as women, as leaders, as moms, as sisters, as daughters, as people in society that can just make a difference through the little things that we do each and every day. So I didn't always do this. I was a geologist and I worked for an oil company. And that's what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. It's a very interesting journey. And if you would have asked me 5 years, especially 10 years ago, if this is where I would have ended up, there would have been not even an ounce of me that would have realized that this is where my path would have been leading me. And I worked as a geologist, and a long story short, I ended up getting very sick and almost died. And that was my moment of transformation that brought me back to who I really was, which was to help people. And I wasn't necessarily helping anybody as a geologist. And that was a disconnect in who I was, and I was my worth and all of that was being defined by my accomplishments and my letters after my name and all of those things that so many of us go through that sometimes we don't recognize until we hit rock bottom. And for me, it was a massive wake up call to, this isn't where I necessarily want to be, but I ended up. But I know looking back now that was my greatest blessing, because I wouldn't be where I am today without each and every part of my journey happening exactly the way it's happened. And every part of our journeys we go through is always for a reason. There's always lessons that we can learn, no matter what we're struggling through or going through in life. There's always so many things that, it takes us to the other side of, just learning more about ourselves and evolving and becoming the best version of ourselves we can be. So I'm such an honor to be here. I started as a parenting coach. That's where my journey started, which again, I never dreamed to even start there, and worked my way from parenting coach to life coach to business coach to leadership trainer, author, speaker, trainer, and the list goes on now in mental health. So there's many. Yeah. So thank you so much, Colleen, for having me here today.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Nadine. So let's go back. I'd like to go back a little bit to the place that you were speaking about before. Let's go back to when you talked about how you got really, really sick, because you covered a lot in about 2 minutes right there. So I'd like to go back and talk about when you said you were sick and you kind of hit rock bottom. So before that, and this is a common theme between many women, that's why I wanted to discuss that with you, which was, what matters is the resume, and what matters is, what we have before our name or after our name. And so because of that, I'm just going to mute you real quick. Because of that, you said you got really sick. Tell me what happened in your world, Nadine. What really drove you to the place where you hit rock bottom and felt like this wasn't serving me anymore?
Yeah, it wasn't something that just happened overnight. It was a progression, and it was a journey, because I had started not feeling well and didn't listen to the signs that my body was showing me and telling me. I kept pushing myself. I was a workaholic. I worked 24/7. I was on call supervising, millions of dollars of wells that we were drilling, and I just didn't even pay attention. I was too busy. I was too busy with focusing on achieving and doing more versus just being who I really was. And for me, it was a course, probably over a year and a half that of not listening to my body, listening to the signs of what it was trying to tell me, that led me to getting basically knocked right down to the point where I couldn't work, where I had to quit work, where I couldn't even barely get out of bed because I had no energy. And it was, for me, it was, the sign that it was bringing me back to who I was. And because I hadn't listened, it took me to this extreme place of, of illness and pain and all of this suffering. And I remember there was a moment that I had laying on my bathroom floor where I thought, I wasn't going to be here the next day. And then at that point, it was funny because I had a voice in my head. It was like a switch went off saying, you know what, you're going to do this. You're going to figure it out. Even though the doctors can't help you. I went through many tests. All the tests came back normal. I was like, there's something not right here. I just knew in my heart that there was a reason why I was going through this. Even in that moment of being at rock bottom, I heard this voice saying, you're going to do this. You're going to do whatever it takes. And you're also going to help other people get through this and be this leader, so to speak. I didn't hear that word leader, but as I'm sharing my story, I've had so many people come forth saying, wow, I can relate to where you've been. That's exactly where I'm at right now. Can you help me? So it was my greatest blessing by far in my entire life of bringing me back to who I am and helping other people also do the same.
Yeah. And do you really think it was the space of separating yourself from the busyness? And like you said, you were just so busy focusing on work, you didn't focus on yourself at all. And then when you were forced to have that space in between the work and your health, you have no choice but to focus on your health and what's happening with you at the moment. Or, I mean, it could be death or something, pretty fatal at that point. So, was it that space that really gave you the time to look at your life and say, what the heck am I doing?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I was the person that, I was always busy. I always had 50 million things on the go, never really had much time to myself. So it went from being overly busy and scheduled to having literally not one thing scheduled in my day for a year and a half. So, yes, it was a massive, massive change and realization from what's really important and what was really important in my life, which for me, it wasn't work. It was more about who you are, honoring yourself, coming back to who you are, listening to your heart, following your heart in life, and figuring out something where you can feel like you have a purpose in life, whether that's even just for a day. Like, what is your purpose for today? Not necessarily for the next 10 years, 20 years. It doesn't have to be a mission and purpose to help millions of people, although it can be. It can be something as small as, okay, what is my purpose today? It might be, you know what, I need to reach out to Sarah. I haven't talked to her in 10 years. I think I need to connect with her. It might be something as simple as these little things that we take for granted. And that's what it brought me back to, is these little things in life, how important they are compounded in our life, like over time, that leads us to the areas that we want to be and where we want to go, which is our purpose and our mission of being here in the first place, of serving others.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew that was said so eloquently because we do get so cluttered and busy. And there's what is productive in your world and then what is just busy in your world that really isn't moving you forward, or there's no result coming from it. And we tend to think, because of society and culture and the way we're taught, that is, if you're not busy, then you're not doing anything. Right? Is
Yeah.
that's, I know that sounds so cliche, but if you're not busy, then you're not doing anything. And if we just think about what is my purpose today, and I love what you mentioned, Nadine, it could be something as simple as texting a friend, calling a friend, Facebook messaging a friend, driving over to someone's house or dropping off something or doing a favor for somebody, whatever it may be. It could be something so small, but that could be the purpose for that day. And then, of course, there's plenty of other hours in the day that you can get things done that you need to for work or whatever it may be. But I love having that mindset. And I think that's a great takeaway for all of us today, which is, what is your purpose today? And think about that every day when you wake up. And what one thing could you do to make an impact? You know, that's part of our title today, because I really feel, Nadine, that your mission is to make an impact in the world, to make an impact in people's lives. And we can do that little by little every day.
Absolutely. And I love what you said about the being and the doing, because I forget, I've heard it many places, but it's so true. We're not human doings, we're human beings, right? So why not? And I found this over the course of my career, having my own businesses, running all of these things, doing these things in the world, that the more I decided to surrender and just trust and let go of control of how things are supposed to be, and just be in the moment and just be present, the more things started happening. So for now, like, I can get accomplished right now more in 2 days than what it used to take me 2 months to get accomplished with. Because I think when you're in that point of, you know what, I'm okay with whatever happens, whatever it looks like. And it might not be exactly how I had it envisioned in my mind, but it might be so much better than what you had imagined, right? So why
Yeah.
set limits on where you think you're going to be, where it could be so much greater than what you had ever imagined, and be able to help and impact, like you said, so many more people in the
Mhm.
world because of it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too, if we don't slow down and stop our minds, how are we ever going to get answers? You know, how are we ever going to get any downloads? How are we ever going to get any direction? Because we live in our minds. And if we live in our minds, we're just constantly trying to control the outcome of something. When if you just surrender to the moment, like you said, and just be in it and say, the outcome is the outcome, whatever that may be, and just trust to that. It frees us from the pressure too, right? We do Life doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. We
Mm,
make it hard, right? It can be,
yes.
and life is happening for us. I've said this 1,000 times before, not to us. So how do we utilize what's happening for us to our advantage and, ride that flow?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like many times we get so caught up in, like you said, the checking off your to-do list of all the things that you need to do. I think every day I could have 200 things to do, right, on my list. And it's like, I've gotten to the point where, like, it's okay if I don't get to them, right? And I've gotten to the point of, like you said, having that inner peace and knowing that if I don't get to all of my to-do list, as long as I get to the things that are the most important, the priorities, that's what matters most, right? What are
Yeah.
the 1 to 3 things that I can check off that day? Or if I get more done, that's great. If I don't, that's fine too, right?
Yeah.
Just being in that place that, whatever happens in the day, and being open. Like, this is another thing too, being open to the unexpected that shows up in our day, and having room and space for these things to happen, the people, the connections, the relationships, the opportunities, allowing that space in your world each and every day so that these things can come in. Because if we're so busy doing all these things, there's no room for new things to come in. Therefore, you limit yourself unknowingly by just being busy and not allowing that time to allow new opportunities to come in.
Yeah, and it's work. I'm going to
Yeah.
say it's a little work to figure that out and to get there. I mean, I come from the corporate world, so there's not space in the corporate world for what comes that day, right? It's pretty planned and it's pretty busy. So with that being said, it takes work to learn. I believe we're teaching ourselves how to do that. So don't get frustrated if you're feeling like, but I've got all these things I have to get done. Start whittling it back a little by little and focus on maybe 5 things that day, and then 4 things the next week or the next month daily, or 3 things. And it's practice, right? We have to learn new skills, form new habits, and it takes time to do that. So don't beat yourself up if you're still in the busy mode. Just recognize step number one, you're in the busy mode. And then how can you make some changes to create some space in your life every day to allow those to happen? And I'm a work in progress still. I still am a work in progress with that.
Oh, we all are, right? No
Yeah.
matter where we are. That's one thing that when I started this journey, I was like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, and then I'm good. And you don't realize the more you do, you start something, there's so many other layers underneath as you grow, as you expand, that you need to learn about yourself, becoming that best version of yourself. You learn so much more about the world, about the people you're interacting with. And it's a journey. We're all in this journey of becoming, is kind of how I like to see it. We're becoming something that we desire to be, like that change in the world when we show up, when we're that role model to other people. It's like you always try, and I always look at it like, look at somebody that you admire in the world, whoever that is, right? A leader, somebody who's done and did amazing things to help people, whatever that looks like to you. Look at the qualities that they have in themselves, because most times, and all times from what I can see, is like all those qualities actually lie within you that you can utilize. It's just a matter of tapping into them and acknowledging that you have that potential within you to also make that impact, or to help, or to, be that role model to the world. It lives within you. It's just a matter of acknowledging and knowing that you're worthy to be able to step into that, right? Everybody has potential, everybody. And it doesn't matter who you are. We're all one. We're all on the same level. There's no need for competition. There's more than enough out there for everybody. I'm a true believer in, let's create win-win, like relationships with one another, where we both win, where we're both on the same level. Just because I've done certain things, it doesn't mean that I'm better than you, or that I'm up here and you're down here. I say to every single person I meet, we're both here, and let's stay here, because I want to support you. I want to teach you. I want to share the wisdom and the knowledge that I've gained to help you become where I am, and even better than, or more than what I am, right? Because I think that's what the world is about, like sharing our wisdom and knowledge with others to help them rise up. And especially now with COVID and all the things that are going on, all the chaos and destruction and darkness, it's more important than ever to be able to shine that light on other people.
Absolutely. How can you make an impact every day on someone else's life? I love that. So Nadine, you have a lot of stuff going on. You have events coming up. You have a book. Talk to us about how any of the women that are listening on the podcast or watching on Facebook, how can they connect with you? What events, what do you have coming up?
Yeah, so I'm the chair and the founder of the Global Lead to Impact Summit. So we just had our second event a few weeks ago. We do have our next event coming up. It'll be May 5th and 6th of next year, 2021. So we do have an early bird registration out right now, I believe, until the middle of November. We're going to be launching that. Our website is leadtoimpactsummit.com. Colleen is actually, we're honored to be having her as one of our speakers at our next event. So we'd love to have each and every one of you. We have some amazing speakers already signed up, global leaders that are already doing amazing things in the world. So we have that coming up. I just finished writing a book about love. So that's going to be coming up. It's called Love Is a Guide to the Power of Love. I have written a previous book a few years ago now called Uncover Your Purpose, based on my own story of how I found my own purpose in life, and just some things I've learned from working with clients and businesses around the world. So yeah, that's called Uncover Your Purpose, Heal and Share Your Gifts with the World. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm on basically all the social media outlets, and you can send me an email at nadine@nadinejoy.com. I would love to get to know and connect with each and every one of you.
Well, we have all of your contact information already loaded, and so everyone will be able to see that and connect with you very quickly. And yes, if you are looking for an event to attend next year, definitely May 5th and 6th. It's a great opportunity to learn and expand your circle of influence and be motivated, inspired, and educated all in the same summit. So I'm very excited to be part of it. So thank you, Nadine. And we hope you all reach out and start following Nadine on social media, as well as check out her books that she's written, Uncover Your Purpose, Heal and Share Your Gifts with the World. And then her new book that she has coming out, Love Is a Guide to the Power of Love. So Nadine, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Colleen.
And then we have Dara. Did I say that right? Is it Dara?
Yes, Dara.
Okay. Dara's with us. I'm so glad you were able to join us because I would have hated to miss this opportunity to be able to share you with the community of Lead Up for Women and all of those that follow us, that are fans, that are connected with us. And, I love your story. I really do. I now normally I know everyone that I interview really well, and I don't know Dara. So this is the first time that we're really meeting and having this conversation. And again, that's unusual, but she has an unusual story, which I think is, really interesting for today. So let me just talk a little bit about you found your way to public relations, which is what you do today, right, Dara?
Yeah.
But you were working in high-end showrooms, so you weren't in public relations at the time. And there was a missing young woman who was a former intern of a friend, and you started raising awareness when she disappeared.
Yes.
And the viral Twitter campaigns, there were like New York Post, Boston Globe. It got interest from a lot of press. And within a weekend's time, the young woman was found safe and is now thriving. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So through that adventure, scary adventure that you went on, you really fell in love with public relations, and then you were recruited to an agency and you just fell in love with that and started your own media company called Fascinate Media. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. That's an amazing story. And I always say things in our lives happen because of things that happen in our lives, right? Pivots, change, switch, careers, because of something that goes down in our world. And of course, this isn't any way that any of us want that to happen, which is the disappearance of somebody that we know and having to raise awareness for that. But it's so interesting to me how you were touched through this to bring you to where you are today. And do you really feel, Dara, like your true gifts are coming out now in Fascinate Media versus what you were doing before? Walk us through that a little bit.
Yes, I absolutely feel that way. When I was working in the high-end showrooms, I think my gifts were trying to come out because I kept trying to lead them to marketing and PR ideas, and it was a corporation. The first showroom that I worked in, it was a corporation that was owned a smaller company, but was owned by Kohler. So suffice to say that they were not really interested in my my ideas for events and PR and the like. So my gifts were definitely like struggling to come out, and I definitely feel that I found the right career path doing this. And for me, I struggled really hard even before working in the showrooms to figure out what I wanted to do. I loved working in the showrooms because it was very like people oriented. I was always busy. There was lots to do, and it was a lot of multitasking, which I'd love to do, and just very it was great for my gifts in many ways, but it didn't fully satisfy me. And I definitely, when I was younger, one of the pieces of advice I give people, because when I was younger I was struggling to figure out what to do and like what career to follow. And I actually fell into the showrooms through some temp work. So I was like, oh, this might be my career path, this is great. But it wasn't fully fulfilling. And some of the advice I like to give people who are struggling to figure out what career is, listen to the compliments people give you. Not, oh, you're so pretty, or you're so beautiful, you know, oh, you're really photogenic. Okay. Oh, you take really amazing photographs. For me, people said, you're a great writer, you're a great connector, you know, you really connect with people. And I was like, how do I make that into a career? I can connect people, but how does that help me? And literally what I do with PR is that I am connecting my clients to journalists all the time. I'm looking for opportunities. I'm thinking, you know, how outside of the box in every way possible to connect my clients to opportunities. And so those compliments helped me figure out what I wanted to do, so that when the opportunity came around to help with this missing girl, I wasn't thinking in terms of career. I was literally thinking just altruistic. I wanted to help, and how can I help? And it just touched me in some way to really want to help find this missing girl, especially since she was connected to a friend of mine. And that's another piece of advice I love to give people, is definitely volunteer in things that might be a passion, because you never know. You might find something that helps you pivot into exactly what you're meant to do. Maybe it's the career you love, maybe it's a person you fall in love with, maybe it's, you know, something else. But maybe it's just helping people in a way. But helping her helped me unexpectedly. I didn't expect to pivot into a new career, and
part of what did that was that it was the housing crisis. So my second showroom that I was working at let me go due to budget cuts, and it was devastating. It was absolutely devastating because I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I can't find a job. No one can find a job. And doing that, helping her, just opened up a whole new pathway for a career for me. And it's been just awesome since, and I love it. And I'm busy constantly. I'm working with tons of clients. I work with tons of agencies as well. And I really am following my pathway and doing my unique ability, and that's important for people to find.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing your story. That seems to be the big question that I hear a lot from women is, if they're wanting to switch careers or in corporate America or whatever they may be doing where they're getting a paycheck and they really want to do something different, the question is, well, I don't know what it is that my passion is or what I'm good at. And I love your advice on that. Pay attention to the compliments that are given to you. I wrote that down because what are others saying that you rock at, that you crush it on? What it's great. We know what we love, and what do you love to do, right? We need to put those two things together. What do you love to do? What lights you up? What fuels you that
Yeah.
you can do it all day, every day, and never get tired of it because you just love it? You pinch yourself every day that you wake up that this is what you get to do as a career. So there's that piece of it too, but I've never heard pay attention to compliments that other people give you. And I love that angle of
Yeah.
this, because I think that's a big piece on realizing what it is that, especially if you're young, realizing what it is that others notice you do really, really well.
Yes, because a lot of the things that we do really well, we don't realize that we do really well
Mhm.
until others say, wow, I wish I could do it like you. And it's just so natural to you that that it just doesn't seem that way. So, for instance, say you're a great singer and people notice that. And people like me who can't carry a tune in a bucket say, wow, like you really moved me with that song, or I just love the tone in your voice. And, maybe that's what gives you the impetus to follow your dream to be a musician. But that's just kind of a more of an artistic, just because I'm in the creative world. But maybe one thing is that um I've done some like admin assistant work when I was much younger, and I was not fit for it. And my dad said, hire someone, because there are people who love doing that, who love filing, who love, and don't take away from their joy.
Mhm.
And that's true. I have a friend who's an admin assistant, an executive assistant at a bank, and she is amazing. She loves to color code her files and things like that. And I have so much respect for her. And, she found her joy. So, another piece of advice my dad gave me was, you know, if you can do this, and obviously when you're a small business, you may not be able to yet, but for the things you're good at, hire someone else to do. The things you're great at, hire someone else to do. The things you're excellent at, hire someone else to do. And your unique ability, that's what you do. And that's
Yeah.
why people hire me to do PR, because they know that they can do it maybe, but they don't have the time. It takes away from them doing their work or whatever it is that's building their actual business. So they hire me to do it and take that away from their plate and bring them opportunities. And
Mhm.
there are many small business owners who'd be great at PR, but they're too busy selling their widgets, and they need to get their widgets into the press, and they just don't have the time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent advice, Dara. I also want to give the advice to ladies out there. We tend to reflect a lot of compliments.
Mhm.
Let them land. Let
Yeah.
them land. If someone's telling you you're good at something, you don't need to say, "Oh, I could have done that better, and this went wrong, and that went wrong." It's like, you know what? Let it land. Say, "Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much." There's nothing wrong with thanking someone for a compliment and then letting that land on you and soak in. We need that as women, right? Stop deflecting, let it land. And I love, Dara, that you talked about, I have a client and a really good friend of mine, a member of Lead Up for Women. She is a virtual assistant. She works with me. She works with several of the other women in Lead Up for Women. And let me tell you, she's amazing at it and is now building that business to train other VAs and helping them start their own businesses. And she's turned it into a very successful business that's truly turning into an empire to empower other women. That I wish something like that was around when I was younger and raising my kids as a single mother. I would have given anything to have a job that I could do from home, or have my own business that I could do from home. And I didn't have access to resources back then for that.
Yes.
And the resources are endless today. You really can do anything it is that you want to do in your life. You've just got to make a plan for it and put your mind to it, and pay attention to what it is that you're excellent at, what your unique ability is, and only you can do it, because that's what makes us stand out, and that's where your focus is. And then you hire others when you have the opportunity to do the rest for you. And most people think, well, I don't make enough money to hire someone. Well, let me just share a tiny secret with you. Those resources that you hire actually help you make more money, because they give you the space and the time to launch another project that you've been working on that you've not had the time to do because you're so in the business and not on the business. And then when you get that space, and this is from experience, you're then able to launch other opportunities, which create a lot more revenue for you to be able to retain those services and hire more.
Absolutely.
And so that's how it works.
Yes.
For everyone out there listening. So Dara, I don't know a lot about Fascinate Media, so please tell everyone listening what you do, how you do it, why someone would want to hire you that's listening today.
Okay, absolutely. Fascinate Media, I started in 2011, and I happened to be surrounded by some people who were at the top of their careers, who took interest in me, and I realized they were so fascinating, and I realized they were brilliant, they were talented, and I said I wanted to be around people who were brilliant, talented, and didn't believe in the word, or fascinating, talented, and didn't believe in the word no. And that was when I was looking for names for my company. I was like, what do I name it? And everything was taken, and I didn't want to go with my name. I just didn't. I didn't feel that was right, even though I retained that domain. So I didn't want to do that, just in case, I built it up to the point where I want to sell it. I didn't want to. One of the showrooms that I worked with, it was under her name, and she couldn't use her name anymore. So I didn't want to do that. So I went with Fascinate Media, and what a public relations firm does is we work with the clients. We get to know you, your business, and your objectives and goals, and we help to get you into the press. So those times when you see a magazine article and it says Dr. So-and-so commented, on whatever topic it is, and he's or she's a doctor at Brigham and Women's Hospital, etc., and they're commenting on this article. Well, I can guarantee you that 9 times out of 10 they have a publicist behind them. And people think, oh, only Beyonce needs a publicist. Why do I need a publicist? That's not true. It's actually the small businesses that do need a publicist, because getting it out there and saying I've been on Fox, I've been on GMA, I've been on etc. gets people interested in your story. And I'm going to tell you one secret about press. There's don't neglect, the small press is just as important sometimes as the larger press, because you never know who's reading what. Mm-hmm. I've had it where I got a client into something small and they got an opportunity that came from it. And then I've had opportunities where I got them into like Good Morning America or the like, and, nothing came of it. So, and that's not always true. I mean, but I'm just saying that press is very important, from the small to the large, and there are opportunities that come with it. For instance, one of my clients is an airline, and I got them recently onto the Neil Cavuto show, and their traffic spiked, and they sold their private airline. They sold a private airline charter based on having been on Neil Cavuto show. And so it really does help. And if someone wanted to hire me, they go to fascinatemedia.net, not .com. Unfortunately, what happened with many small businesses is someone was squatting on the domain when I was building it, so I couldn't get the .com. And that unfortunately happens to a lot of small businesses. So definitely think about that when you're coming up with the name of your company. Can you get like all of the social media? Can you get the domain, etc. And one thing that people mistake with PR is that they think, oh, is it publishing? Because I say to people, I'm a publicist, and they ask me, what books do you publish? I do work with authors, but we don't publish books. I don't write the articles. So that's some of the confusion that people have about PR, because I know it's very much a sort of an esoteric career that people don't understand. But it's an interesting career for someone who might be interested in actually following my footsteps into PR. I'd say you need to be someone who can be quick on the ball, someone who can write very well, someone who can always look for and spot opportunities, someone who's great at connecting with people. You cannot be shy, and you have to have a thick skin, because you will get rejected as much, if not more, than an actress. 9 times out of 10, you get rejected. And the thing though, it's such a great hit when you get something for your clients. I had a great day the other day. I got ESPN, CNN, Good Morning America, and Women's Day for a client, and that was just for different clients, and that was just such a great feeling to know that my work is getting my clients' voices out there. And to bring it back to the work that I did with the missing young woman is, it's really about, I'm basically the person shouting out your name and being the, I can't think of the word, but
the advocate.
The advocate, thank you, for people. And, taking the quiet, this is my business to everyone and saying, this is their business and it's amazing and you should go like buy from them. So, and that's the difference also between advertising and PR that people don't understand. Advertising is something where you can put your ad into the New York Times, and once you buy it, you're in there. But people, what you're saying is, I'm amazing, you should buy from me, or you should hire me, or whatever. With PR, what it is someone else is advocating for you and saying, this person or this company or this product is so amazing, check it out. Mm-hmm. And then you have the credibility also of the journalist saying, I checked out this product, this person, this place, and it's amazing. You should, read about it, go to it, etc.
Yeah, you want other people advocating for you, other people telling, like, on a news show or in a magazine, if they write an article about you, they're the ones that are advocating for you. And that comes from a third party, which is way better than you paying for an ad to be in something or an article to say, hey, yeah, I'm great. So I totally get the difference in that. So yeah, you're hired. So Dara, I'll reach out to you after this. Anyway, so I think this is great. I think what you're doing is wonderful. Anyone that is wanting to get their name out there and expand their circle of influence and be able to scream from the mountaintops. And, for most of us women that are doing what it is that we're doing now, we're so passionate about what we do, and we really want to help others. We want to make an impact in their lives, just like you do, Dara, just like you do, Nadine. It's about making an impact for others. And you need money to do that. That's why we should never shy away from making money. Women, we don't serve for free. You need money to do that. And you also need to be seen, and you need to show up to do that. People need to know who you are. So how do we make an impact in the world? We show up and we're seen, and we're not shying away from that. And we're bringing our gifts forward, and we're proud of those gifts, and we're landing the compliments.
Yes.
Landing the compliments when they land on us.
And I love
you, ladies. What'd you say, Dara?
I said I love working with women and helping women. So get up there.
My favorite too. So I just want to thank both of you for being with me today. This has just been a really great interview. So thank you so much. I want to talk to really quick about what we have going on next week on November 4th. I have Kesha Kent, who's joining us next week. She wrote a book. I had it sitting here on my desk a second ago. about, networking is your superpower. I love this book. And it's all about why networking is like the shiz on what you should be doing. I'm big on this. This is why I have a community. Connecting with community and people are, is another way to grow your influence with other people. So she's going to be on there. She's a podcast host as well, and a national diversity and inclusion specialist, which today is wonderful to be able to be heading that and being a gladiator for that movement. And then we have Kathy Robinson joining us, and she's a career and personal branding leadership coach. So a lot we can learn from her on branding. Branding's important. Dara will tell you, if you don't have a clear message or a brand, we can't do much with you. So
Exactly.
you got to have a clear message and a brand. You got to know what you stand for. And that's when I want to just mention to you as we close here, you have to remember you are the only you that has ever been, and you are the only you that will ever be. Let that land for a second. So how you pioneer your future and how you show up for you and others is all up to you. It's all up to you. So be you and be strong, and we'll see you next week. Everybody have a wonderful Halloween. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.